When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through a storm, hold your head.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Kicking It Back with Matt. Tonight, we're going to kick it with first time guest, Garon Bach. Garon, what's going on, buddy? How are you? You there?
Yes, I'm there. Sorry
All
about that.
right. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Ready to kick it?
Yeah.
All right, man. So, first things first, I'm told you're an Arsenal supporter.
Yeah, sadly.
Tell me how and why. And when.
So in high school, uh, I started covering sports for the high school. They put me on soccer. I was like, okay, yeah, I can cover soccer. I called a few of their games, and I realized I'd never really put any interest into any form of soccer that was any club level, not even from MLS to your big, even like the World Cup. So I was just like, okay, I need to find a team. And a few buddies of mine that were on the soccer team, they told me about how they were Man United fans, they were Chelsea fans, they were Man City fans, and I'm like, well, I need to find a team that's not one of those three. And I had seen that Arsenal was kind of going downward. I think that was right before they got Arteta. Just weren't really doing well at that time. And I was like, you know what? I'll be a fan of them. And it worked out for me. I haven't really had to deal with all of the sadness that a lot of Arsenal fans have had to go through during the 2010s, but I picked them just so I could just dig on my buddies all the time. It worked out pretty well for a couple of years, except for my friend who's a Man City fan, owned me every single season, but that's fine. But I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed the passion of it, and now especially when I covered FAU soccer with my job and everything, I kind of just have a better passion, a better understanding of the sport, and I mean, just being able to say I'm an Arsenal fan feels pretty nice to have on me.
So, did you go back and look at like the history of the club and some of the things that they have done?
Yes, I have. That was a big thing of mine. So I told you before we were on the show. I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, here in East Tennessee, and something I'd always learned as being a college football fan was, Tennessee used to be good, and I had to live through them being terrible for years. And when I saw Arsenal was like the same way, I'm like, I can relate to that. So that was another driving force for me. And so whenever I looked back and saw Arsenal was really good in the 90s, 2000s, I was like, well, you know what? At least I can say I've got some history there with that as well.
My father in law is an Arsenal fan, and I know a couple of others. None of them ever want to come onto the show. So, thanks for coming on. I know during the season you were in school and didn't have the ability to join the show. So, it would have been a lot of fun because my team, Liverpool, won the whole goddamn thing, and you guys finished runner up. So I got to ask you, as an Arsenal fan, look, I know, I knew as soon as PSG beat Liverpool in that quarterfinal round of the Champions League, I knew they were winning it all. So, like, I'm not going to dump that on Arsenal and Arteta. I mean, PSG has just been on such a hot streak.
Mm.
But let me ask you, as an outsider looking in, Do you think he's got what it takes to get them over the bump here?
And that's something I think every single season. I remember at the beginning of the Premier League season last season. I mean, I can't believe we're already about to start a new one here in just about a month. I remember thinking, okay, we're probably going to finish second or third again. I thought it'd be Man City, and like you mentioned, I saw Liverpool a lot. I was hearing a lot of buzz around them. I'm like, probably going to finish second or third. It's going to suck, but Arsenal finished second again, and my logic behind that was just, you finished second 3 times in a row. You have an FA Cup under your belt. You got the EFL, 2 of them, so you can prove that you can win. But it's the Premier League. You need to win that. You want to win that especially when you're a big name like Arsenal. And I do think he can do it. The way that the transferring this summer has worked out, not really looking like maybe next year will be the year. But, there's some buzz going on. But sadly, any player Arsenal wants, it seems like the money is the issue for them. And it's always going to go that way.
That's what I don't get. Like, they built this, it's not brand new now, but at the time when they built that new stadium, that was like the creme de la creme. And like was supposed to be a huge moneymaker. And to me, to this day, I'll still never understand why they spent the amount of money that they spent on Declan. For a holding midfielder, I didn't get it. And we're we're talking about what they need, and you tell me if I'm wrong. But everybody's telling me that they need a pure out and out number 9 guy that can bury goal after goal. Just is that true? Like, is that what they're really missing? Is it what they need? And if it is, why the hell haven't they pounced yet?
Well, I remember, like I mentioned, I became an Arsenal fan early 2020s. So it's not been a long time. And that's why when I say I can't really complain, it's true. They've done really well since I've been a fan. But the issue is that I remember the first big signing, this will tell you how recent of a fan I became, was Gabriel Jesus. That was a big signing. And I remember, okay, first name, got to look into him, and I thought that man would be a star. And he did really well during 2022 and 2023, I believe. And this season had the injury, just, a lot dropped off. Yet the team still finished second again after injury after injury after injury. So when people talk about it's a depth issue, I don't get it. I don't understand. What do you mean it's a depth issue? Because I remember whenever they lost to Man City, I can't remember exactly what year, it was like a record for the most points scored in the table. And Arsenal was like the highest point scorer for someone who didn't win the league. And it's just like this team, they're just having to deal with a really, really tough scenario around them. And when you talk about the money to be spent, why have they not gone out and done it? That's a great question. I don't know. I do not know. They have the money. They can get any acquisition they seem to want to. I mean, they have the name. It's Arsenal, Premier League team, a top team, and they just seem like they don't want to go do it. I don't know if that's an Arteta issue. I don't know if that's just a team issue. But overall, I think if they're going to be able to, one, we can go back to the Arteta question, will he be able to get over the hump? Will he be able to say, screw it, we need to spend money on somebody? Or secondly, will they be able to have even better depth than they've had previously?
I think he's the right man for the job. Look, he had a great understudy working under Pep. You can't get much better of pedigree than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he grew up playing for some great clubs, playing for some great gaffers. I think he can do it. I think the problem with Arsenal is they can never all be on the same page. And coming from Liverpool, last summer for me was very frustrating because we were replacing a legend in Klopp, and we signed a goalie for £40 million and immediately loaned him back to the team that we just bought him from. And then we bought in Kessie for $14 million. And I'm saying to myself, Liverpool, Big Six club, you've got to go up against Man City, and you're laying out $54 million. and 40 of that million's going back out the door because you've got the best goalkeeper in the Premier League as is, and his backup could probably play at over half the other, EPL clubs and start anywhere in the world. So that blew my mind. But now, like I just saw before we came on the show when it was confirmed, Liverpool now after Croquettes today, 200 million on three players.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're talking, we just lost Trent, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got Connor Bradley, 19 years old. That he's going to play that position. Bring in Croquettes now to battle with Robinson on the other side. So they're already bringing in established dudes who are young, and we're doing it right. We're selling on when we have to sell on, and we're buying the right player. And I just don't know why Arsenal's messing around with the kid from Portugal. I forget his name, the Swedish kid. Man U really wanted him, but Man U is balking at the price. If I'm Arsenal, that guy is going to take your team over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't go back this far, but back in the late 2000s, Liverpool brought in this guy, Fernando Torres, El Nino.
Mm-hmm.
And he was exactly what that squad was missing. And he came in and he set the league on fire. This kid would do that for Arsenal, and I see Arsenal all over his name. Every rumor report, everything I see. Just go and do it.
Yeah, the two names I know right now are Sesko, and then you've got Gyökeres is the name I was looking at.
Yeah, Gorky something.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know how to pronounce it, so forgive me on that. But Gorky's, from what my understanding is the fact that he's a little cheaper. And so all these clubs are looking at, okay, we need to go after him so I know Man U was looking into going after him. Arsenal's been going after him. But why like you've mentioned, why even worry about saving a little bit of money when you can go over the top with somebody else? Gorky's he's cheaper. But at the same time, I really like the whole idea of getting Sesko. I thought Sesko would be great for the team. He's a young guy who's put a lot of talent on himself, a lot on his back, and I really think he'd be able to come in and be that 9 that you're talking about for the team. Arsenal needs that, and whenever you can get a big name, a name to have some talk going on around you, it kind of makes you want to stand up with your shoulders up straight, make you think, hey, maybe we could be the big dog this year. I mean, the 1 year Man City is a little bit off. Arsenal doesn't take advantage. And, that's not really on them. They still finished second ahead of Man City, so you can't really complain about that. But at the same time, it's like there's a reason why. It's because if you look at Arsenal overall as a team, they are a great team, solid team. Their whole lineup is great. But tell me someone who definitely stands out, someone who's like, this player could be a great player, a player that goes down as a Premier League legend right now. And, I mean, you look at Saka. He seems really good. He's someone that I think could be that guy and has been that guy. And he's still got all that talent, but you can't just have one leg out there. You can't just have one striker out there. You need to have someone else.
And to be fair to Man City too, injuries ravished both your squad and Man City's squad this year, and it really didn't. Outside of Jota, that was really the only significant injury for Liverpool. We were lucky this year. Like, as you know, that 38 game schedule is a grind because you have FA Cup, Carabao Cup for Arsenal and Liverpool. You got Champions League. And I don't want to hear it from Arsenal they don't have the cash. They made it to the semifinals of the CL. Like, you got paid. Like, go out and spend it. So it's fascinating how, like, everybody can think that they're just that one player away. And I'm not rubbing it in with you, but you see the team that just finished ahead of you in the table win the whole thing and go out and drop 200 million.
Yep.
On 3 guys. you should be saying to yourself, we definitely got to go get that guy now.
Yeah.
Because, all right, maybe we were here, but as it stands so far in the transfer window, it's here now.
Yeah, and it's the fact that if you go and look at the transfer window right now, I mean, I'm pretty sure Arsenal's picked up a midfielder. I can't remember the name. I think they picked up one midfielder either yesterday, maybe even today. But that's all they've done. And I don't think the midfield's a problem for them. Their defense obviously isn't a problem. I mean, their defense is solid, lights out. But when you're focusing on, once again, I just want to hit it again, when you're talking about the idea of injuries being the problem, yet you still finish second after injuries. That's not the issue. You don't need to worry about your depth anymore. Go out and get that star. Go out and get someone who's going to be a difference for your team, and not someone who is going to maybe stand out one or two games, might help you win a game, or maybe even draw an important match. It's the idea that overall you just need to go out and spend that money. And I'm there with you. I have no idea why. I'm a Braves fan. They remind me of the Braves. They won the World Series and then just let everyone go. And I mean, that's fine. But why not try to say, hey, we're near the top, but the people at the top are still going and going and going. There's no point in you just being fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm very negative on this guy. And today in the Club World Cup, he actually became the fastest player to ever get to 300 goals between club and country is Haglund. I think he's one of the most overrated players ever. But the one really good thing that he does on a soccer pitch is put the ball in the back of the net. And he's the exact type of player, in my opinion, that Arsenal is missing to complete the puzzle for this current roster.
Mm-hmm.
Is you just need that flat out and out striker that that basically any game they're going to get you a goal some way, somehow.
Yeah, and that's why I would really like Arsenal to go out and get Sesko. He's someone who I think he may not. I mean, overall, statistically speaking, he is not the top. He's not going to be the top of the Premier League, but he's going to be someone who's going to be pretty dang close when it comes to talent. And whenever you've got to worry about your other offensive players on the field, he's someone that is going to be, if he finds a way, and just somewhere, somehow, to be right there for the shot, just take it. I want someone who's going to be able to, if you miss a goal, that's fine. It happens. You're always going to miss. You're always going to miss more than you make. But I want someone who's aggressive about it, someone who's going to just do it and look good doing it, and make opponents realize, hey, we might want to spend a little bit more time on this guy, to where you can draw attention off the others around you. And because I really think Arsenal, like you said, it's just a missing piece. I don't even think it's got to be a big piece, but just a big enough piece that will be able to draw attention away and not feel like it's someone coming off who could be on the bench as a reserve. Just someone who can actually be there.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you know what they're asking for Cisco?
I think 70 million.
So that's basically the same amount for Gorky's.
Mm-hmm.
So look, you got the two of them there. Pick one of them. Fly the suitcase with the cash over. Venmo for all I care, and be done with it. Because the longer you play possum, right, and play chicken, and don't become aggressive, it now starts to open the door for other clubs to come in. And when they have talks with that player, something could catch their ear and turn them to say, "Hey, that's where I want to go." That's what happened with Wirtz with Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and he says, "Yeah, like Man City, great. Like you want me, too bad. Like this is where I want to go." So just get in, do the business, and get it done, and move on.
I think that you're going to enjoy hearing this because I've had Cisco pulled up on my laptop because I know I'd want to hit on him tonight. One of the first articles that popped up is about the fact that Arsenal's playing the waiting game. This is from goal.com. This is just a headline. I couldn't get the article loaded up for me. I'll see if I can get it loaded up a little bit. But they're wanting the price to drop. They are waiting for the price to drop before they sign them.
When you're talking about these caliber of players, you can't wait. right? That club is going to stand firm on what they're going to be willing to take. So even if, like, all right, let's just say it's 70, even if you just go in and say, hey, we'll give you 55 up front and we'll do 15 in add-ons. Let's just get this done.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? He gets to come in with a full training camp and hit the ground running for the season. Because I can imagine Arsenal doing this. I can imagine them waiting to the last day of the window. And let's just, I know that these two won't be there at the last day of the window, but let's just say that one of those two were. The last day of the window, they'll come in and be like, well, we'll give you 75 now instead of 70. And you've already played 3 Premier League games. You know, you're bringing in this big-time money guy, and he's got no juice, no nothing with the team.
Yeah.
That's the way Arsenal has been operating since I started watching EPL back in 2000. It's
yeah, because you talk about how there is a good chance that they're just going to wait. I mean, you're going to wait. They're going to wait to see how their first 3 matches go of the EPL season, but according to reports now, because I've got the article to load up and I just want to share this, they're eyeing former Man City player who was with La Liga. I believe it's Julian Alvarez. Yeah, so I just don't get it. Why are you waiting? It's £70 million. The money here is not really an issue. We talk about so many of because it's not even a Premier League thing. It happens regardless of what sports league you watch, where teams are just going to wait and want 10 million cheaper, 5 million cheaper. If you think they're that good, just spend the money. Just go for it.
And that's my point. And, I dropped the amount of money that Liverpool's already spent, but Man City's also already done a ton of business. And they did it because they're taking this Club World Cup so seriously. And I want to get into this now because I've talked about it a couple of times leading up to it. And in how I thought this thing was going to fall on its face. And I still believe that. I read the other day that some of these games are getting 3,000 spectators.
Oh, gosh.
And they're saying, and this is what FIFA's telling you, and FIFA's just telling you what they want you to hear, that their average attendance is 30,000. Number one, I didn't really see any marketing on this. I didn't even know it was being hosted here in the U.S. until like the end of February. I can't believe they went to 32 teams. I can't believe some of the teams that are here and why you would ever go and spend money on a ticket to go watch some of these teams. And now you're competing in the same country as the Concacaf Gold Cup.
Yeah.
So now you have 2 month-long tournaments going on side by side. It blows me nuts. I'm going to turn it over to you in a second. And then the other thing is you can't watch the goddamn thing. Last week, I went to go watch the Inter Miami game. It told me that it was on TNT. I got this big old 65-inch TV to the left of me. I got TNT on. No Inter Miami game. And then I saw that the broadcasting partner is DAZN. And apparently you can purchase it through Apple TV. But like, I don't know. Would you purchase a package to watch this thing?
No. I'll be completely honest. I forgot about it in the FIFA Club Cup. I forgot about it. I was confused. I saw, I live in South Florida, so I see what's going on with Inter Miami. follow them, and I was like, oh, they're on a break. That's weird. I thought MLS ran through the whole summer, and I was like, huh, that's a little odd. And then I was like, oh, what's this? I didn't even know about it. I will be completely honest with you. Now I have been covering NASCAR, college sports, so my weekends are pretty much busy. Any free time I have is going towards that. But whenever you decide, because this is a decision that was made years, don't think it's months, it's years in advance, like for who's going to host, what's going to happen. And the fact that they said, hey, our best idea is to have two big events happening in the states at the same time for a sport which let's be honest, soccer is not that big in the United States. I don't care if you're bringing in international teams in, or if it's club teams that are popular, even from like the Premier League. It's just not going to work out. And the fact that you mentioned, I didn't even know it was 3,000. I had seen the reports for 30,000, and I was gonna hit on that for a second, because my logic was, I wrote this down because I just wanted to share. One, it's the United States. I just hit on that. I really think the issue is that it's just not big of a sport here. But you mentioned that seems like no one was watching it, at least in person, and the fact that you have to go through a streaming service to do it, DAZN, for the Club World Cup as well. That's just ridiculous to me. I think it makes no sense.
Well, and then what they're also doing is like the big name teams, Real, Byron, Dortmund,
Mm-hmm.
Inter, Juventus, Chelsea. They're putting all those games on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon
Yep.
because it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock across the pond, and like those people want to watch the games. I don't know about like, I mean, I can for what I do for a living. If I wanted to go to a 3 o'clock game, I could. The week of heat that we've had here in Jersey this week, would I be going? Absolutely not. Like it was 100 degrees here the other day. So I don't, I think it was poorly planned, poorly promoted. I know why they're doing it. It's the dry run for the World Cup next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same format. Granted, there'll be more teams next year at the World Cup, but they just blew this up from a 17 tournament to a 32 team tournament. And if you didn't have a computer in front of you right now, and I asked you who won the last Club World Cup, you would probably be taking a guess.
Yeah.
To know what the answer to that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this: if I had 9 other guys or girls on here with you, and I asked you all the same question, and I was able to mute you, and so you couldn't hear someone's answer, I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you 9 out of the 10 of you wouldn't even know. I didn't know. I took a guess the other day when I started researching for tonight, and my guess was right, but it was an educated guess. I said Real Madrid because Real Madrid wins, like, they're built to win cup competitions, but nobody cares. And why did we have to go to 32 teams? Why am I having to watch Auckland FC? Like, do they ever have a chance of winning this thing? And I'll say two things. One is I'm pretty sure that they have the two best teams in the tournament on the same side of the bracket in Real and Man City. And I got to tell you, the South American teams are kicking ass in this thing. They're here to win.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think some of these other teams, they're here because they have to be here. You're an Arsenal fan. You're not here. Are you mad that they're not here?
I truthfully no, because I feel like this is a good time to just break down, just take a little bit of time off as a player, even as just an organization. And the thing that was confusing to me, because I'll be honest, I didn't really get the research in for the FIFA Club World Cup. How, like, I realized that these are top names, so I assumed maybe these were league winners, former this big time names. How do they even decide the seating for this? That was my confusion as well.
So it's not seeding. So I don't know if you know this or not, and I apologize if we go over it. So basically, what they do in all these cup competitions is based off of your winning percentage, win losses, how well you've done over like the previous year, like in the World Cup.
Hmm.
They'll take, all right, they don't want to put England, France, Spain, and Germany all in the same pool.
Yeah.
So they'll say, all right, you're going to be in pool A, you're going to be in pool B, C,
Yeah.
D, whatever.
The groups.
And they
Yeah.
take that next level, the second tier level, put them in there. And then the rest are really all just freaking ping pong balls. And then they slot them into those pools because they want to obviously keep the best countries and the best clubs in the competition for as long as possible.
Hmm.
Like, I hate to say it, but Inter Miami's got to play PSG in the quarterfinal now.
Yeah.
That score can easily be 10-0
Hmm.
because you look at the average age of Inter versus the average age of PSG. It's going to be mind blowing. So that's how they kind of do it, is to just make sure that hopefully the big boys all can last longer. That's why I loved how they changed Champions League this past year and
Hmm.
just said, hey, no more pool play. Top 24 teams make it. Top 8 teams get a bye. And then you don't have to win that pool to come out. But the way they do it is they do it by continent, and they do a 4-year look back. So you either had to have won your league, and in the case of the Premier League or some of these other big, you have to win Champions League.
Hmm.
So it's Man City and Chelsea. So Man City's won the past 4 EPL titles prior to this year. Chelsea won the Champions League in 21.
Okay.
So that's how Chelsea is in, because Arsenal hasn't won either of those two. Neither has Liverpool.
Hmm.
So that's how they do it. And then they don't want more than 2 teams per country. So that's why you're getting these Middle Eastern teams, these Asian teams, the Auckland team from New Zealand. They lost 10-0 to Bayern Munich in the first game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pool play. Like, what kind of competition are you holding that you're going to take seriously when you have a 10-goal disparity?
Hmm.
So that's why, to me, it's very difficult, and it's all about money, right? They got 100 million from this DAZN. So you just not a lot of these games people aren't going to go to. I watched a game. I can't remember. It was an opening round game, and it was actually at Nashville Stadium. Now, Nashville Stadium holds like 25,000 people.
Hmm.
I'm going to say there was like no more than like $5,000 there.
Wow. Well, like I said, and because I know it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out when you have two major soccer things going on in the United States that there's going to be a big split, and by split I mean more people are going to care about the actual international stuff going on, at least stateside, than they are about seeing Inter Miami representing the United States in this. No one's going to care, and whenever you are thinking to yourself, as I look back, the only time I remember Arsenal ever coming to the States is whenever they come to do those international friendlies against maybe some MLS team or maybe some United States All-Star players, things like that. That's the only thing I remember seeing Arsenal do. I know that in the Premier League, they'll have a few teams come over to the States and play against each other, just basically just a scrimmage. And that's how I saw this cup. I saw this cup kind of just as a scrimmage. But at the end of it all, I will say there's still a trophy to be won. And like you mentioned, those South American teams, they are wanting to win that cup. They do not care. And I mean
It's a
that.
hundred. It's 100 million to the tournament winner.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing because, like you said, there was just no promoting it. I've not seen it anywhere. Not even social media wise have I seen the soccer pages I follow really even highlight it until it started. And
And I got to ask you this. I hate to cut you off,
you're
but
good.
what just popped into my head is when I'm looking at the scheduling of these things, of the games, Fluminense played in Nashville the other day,
Hmm.
and you're from Tennessee, and I'm not trying to be anything here, nothing political, none of
Go
that
ahead.
stuff.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But why? Like, is there a heavy Brazilian population in the state of Tennessee?
No, not even in Nashville, which you could consider a very diverse area, especially now with how many people move to Tennessee. No, it's not. It,
So,
it makes no sense.
so you get where I'm like
No,
scheduling. Like, why
yeah,
aren't you scheduling these teams to go and play in front of people from their countries where they have a strong, solid base, and you'll get the people to come into the stands. And 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 we're doing half soccer specific stadiums, half NFL stadiums. Well, if every World Cup game is being played in an NFL stadium, that just goes to show me that they knew this thing wasn't going to get the juice that they
hmm
wanted to out of it. And they can sit there and say, oh, well, we've got to, we want to use these new MLS stadiums and all that. Well, if your intent is to put on this huge competition, you want these games sold out. So I don't. Are you planning on going to any of these later round games? Are you near any of the stadiums that they're going to be at?
no. I mean, maybe if they're in Miami and it's a reasonable price, maybe. I mean, I'd love to see PSG play. I'd love to see Bayern play. That'd be awesome to be able to say I got to see them. But I don't even know if they're going to be down here. That's the whole thing.
I
Is
know. I know. Hard Rock is hosting. I want to say either one of the quarters or one of the semis.
Well, I will say at least in the Miami area because I've spent some time down there covering some of the Marlins games the past couple of weeks. There is a lot of FIFA Club World Cup advertisements of like even like the games to be played on billboards on the interstate off 95. So yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, there is a game down there, but to go back to your point of like why are they playing a Brazilian team in Nashville? Why are they having that team play? It reminds me of the only other thing I can think of with South America and trying to bring in to where when you see teams play, it makes sense here in the States. But for the World Baseball Classic, which I guess is something you could consider close to like the World Cup or something, they purposely leave that in Texas, in South Florida. They leave it to where you know you're going to have these huge Hispanic fan bases, and the fact that there's South Americans in the whole region, you have a lot of stuff going on, and then saying, hey, let's put these in Seattle, let's put these in Nashville. It just doesn't make sense. It seems like they went to the venue that didn't have a concert or summer series concert going on over the summer, and they just said, all right, you guys can have it.
Yeah, because if you look at the venues for the Gold Cup, 85% of those games are being played in the southern part of the country.
Mm,
There's a straggler like in Minnesota or Oregon, things like that, but the majority of the games are being played down south. Why is that? Because the majority of the countries involved in that competition are from Central America and the Caribbean. And then this blew my mind and blew me out of the water. And I thought it was, I don't want to say I thought it was a typo because it was on ESPN. Saudi Arabia is in the Concacaf Gold Cup. So I had to look it up because why would Saudi Arabia being, they're nowhere near the Concacaf region.
hmm
And it's for developing, growing their game. They've been invited as a special guest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And it's a working agreement between their federation and the CONCACAF federation. what will happen if they were to win this cup competition as a guest? Don't you think that that's kind of a slap in the face to the rest of these nations?
Oh yeah, it is. But I get it. I understand why you're wanting to grow the sport, but for the Concacaf Cup, like I said, I've not been a soccer fan for that long. Only about half a decade now. But I've always understood that the big three have always run it. You got Mexico, United States, Canada. Those are the three. And by the way, and by big three, it should be big two. I should just fix that. It's United States and Mexico, and Canada's one of the others. But like to invite another team when all of these other teams have not won, all of these other teams have, all these other countries have not had a shot, or well, they've had their shots, but they've not been able to say we've won it, and then go, hey, come on, we'll bring you in, because what's going to happen if you're wanting to grow it a little bit more, maybe bring in some other teams? It's not going to work out, and I think it's unfair.
Right. And then how could you even call it the CONCACAF Gold Cup? Like if you're bringing in like four other guest teams, it's like, all right, we're just going to call it a Gold Cup or call it something else.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that you're having a conference month-long tournament for all the teams that are in your conference. But no, we're going to take this special guest over here. Like college football, right? The SEC goes, well, we're going to do this month-long SEC postseason tournament. But, oh, yeah, Ohio State, why don't you come in and join it for the month and see how you do over like Saudi Arabia is never, ever going to be a member of this federation.
No.
So what's the point? Have them come over here and do a summer tour.
Mm-hmm.
And, like Man U, West Ham, and Crystal Palace, I think it is, are coming over in July to do their preseason tour. Have the Saudi Arabia team come over then.
Yeah.
And play with those guys. I just think it's an embarrassment that you're having a national cup competition and you're bringing somebody from the outside in. All these teams they want to win this thing, and now you're going to allow somebody else the opportunity. And I haven't. Let me look. What do you think about it?
Well, I said I think it's unfair, but just more to the point that there are these teams that have not won. We talk about it's been the United States or Mexico winning it most of the time since they've started it. You look back at the history of it, and there's not really been one of those smaller countries to win. You got Costa Rica and Jamaica. I guess they could claim a part of that back whenever COVID hit, but no, not even that. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. But it's only United States and Mexico, and then Canada they've won one of them. But whenever you have the runner-ups being your Honduras, your Brazils, your Jamaica, your Panama, like these are the things, because you look like last season, Panama was in this one there, and they seem to be a pretty good team this year. But why is it fair for these teams that have made it to the championship, have made it so close, and then go, hey, we're just doing this to grow the sport? Because like you said, if you want to grow the sport or help this team develop, I guess that's what it's more so for, then bring them over during the summer. Let them play the Major League Soccer All-Stars. Do something like that. It just doesn't really correlate for an actual title. That's very important, because I know it only happens every 2 years, but I can tell you this much. Every single 2 years, you have the people that don't really watch soccer in the United States. They see that America's won the cup, and they go a little crazy, and then the soccer love dies down again. But it's important to even us.
So here's they've made it to the quarterfinals. They're playing Mexico on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So they very well could make it to the semifinals. So let me ask you, as a U.S. citizen, an American,
yes,
could you imagine if the U.S. makes it to the final, we have to play Saudi Arabia in the final, and we lose? And the same goes for any other country that's got a valid reason for being in this cup competition. which is all of them except for the Saudis. Like, what do you say? Like, oh, that score didn't count. Like, America wins the cup because the Concacaf Cup. This could just so backfire. On
Well, this reminds me of any time there's always like a rule broken. So a team makes it into a group stage or a tournament, or maybe they find out, hey, we're stripping away your wins because they weren't clear from the start. Make it clear. But I guess they made it clear when they said, nope, Saudi Arabia, they are playing for a title here, and it's ridiculous. But I think that's the reason why I love international sports, but like international soccer a lot, because it's so funny to think Mexico Saudi Arabia is about to be a game to be one of the 4 teams left for this. It's just funny to think because you've got this powerhouse in Mexico, and then you got Saudi Arabia who's coming in here and be like, nah, we need to win. And mind you, that game is going to be like at 4 or 5 in the morning in Saudi Arabia. So if they're going to wake up and watch it, go right ahead. But I just yeah, if they win, I mean, as an American, I would obviously be ignorant as I would be, and I would say we won. If the United States lost to Saudi Arabia, I'd say no, we won.
well, here you go. It's not going to be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in Saudi Arabia.
Hmm.
The game is being played here at 10:15 kickoff at night.
Yeah. So what time is it going to be over there? Probably 7, 8 in the morning then.
Yeah, they're probably like 8 hours ahead of us.
I'm not
Maybe
good with math like that, so
maybe a little. I was in Greece last summer, and it was 8 hours there. I know India's like 9.5, so somewhere probably between 8 and 9.5. But like 10:15 at night, we're playing a quarter. Now that's Eastern Standard. I don't know where that game is, but I bet you that game is somewhere from Texas to Florida.
it's State Farm Stadium, so Arizona.
Oh, all right. So it'll be 7:15 kickoff. But again, like I'm going to be really interested in that match
Yeah.
because I can tell you this. Let me give you a trivia question. Who was the only team to beat Argentina in the last World Cup?
Oh gosh, I watched that game too. That's what
Come
sucks.
on,
I
I
know.
just gave you a layup.
I'm sorry.
It
I'm
was
going.
Saudi. It was
Yeah,
Saudi.
Saudi Arabia. I remember that. I remember that.
So
It's
like the only team that beat Argentina in the last World Cup, we're allowing to come play in this cup. I mean, couldn't we pick a different country?
well. What if we just drop it and just blame Argentina for it? What if we just do that, regardless of what happens? If Saudi Arabia wins, we just can all point fingers at Argentina and move on.
I gotta. I didn't get a chance to talk to this older gentleman today, but I was at physical therapy this afternoon, and this older gentleman was there for physical therapy as well, and he was telling his therapist his son plays for the New England Revolution in the MLS, and they're going to watch him play tonight in Philly against the Union, and then his grandson is leaving to go play for the Estonia national team.
Okay.
And the whole family's flipping out because Estonia is like parked right between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And he's going to be there for like a month with the national team. But like, I'm like, damn, I'm like, that's a pretty cool story. Like this granddad's got to be pretty freaking proud.
Yeah. I was just looking. I wanted to let you know I was listening to you, but it will be, I think, about 6 in the morning in Saudi Arabia for kickoff. So, if you're a fan of Mexico, which it would be about 9, 8, depending on where you live, or if you're in Saudi Arabia, which is one time zone, it's a terrible time. I mean, 8:15 is okay. 2 hours, it's fine. But I just if it's
Hey,
a
listen, I remember when the U.S. was in the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and
mhm.
Japan. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning to watch their 4 a.m. kickoff game.
Oh yeah, I do that for the Olympics.
And yeah, and it was, it wasn't pool play. It was quarterfinals, I believe. But I got up to watch it. But that was also, in my opinion, that's the best national team that we've ever had.
Mhm.
So people will do it. Um, I just still find it odd that they're invited as a guest team in a cup competition.
Yeah, I really wish it doesn't really correlate here, but I cover NASCAR, and one of the things they have a rule now is it's where if you're a driver of influence, you can say, "Hey, I want to race," and you don't even have to qualify, but you don't earn any points, you don't earn any money, you don't get anything, you just get to race. So why not maybe think of a concept like that for Saudi Arabia? I mean, you mentioned Argentina, the fact that I'm just going to blame Argentina for it all. I think that's okay, but the fact that Saudi Arabia has a shot to win this, it is really odd. I can't be mad because I feel like it's just got to be a job of Mexico to shut them down. Just United States in the finals if it's United States makes it there. I just I think it'd be pretty fun to see Saudi Arabia take on Panama. That'd be pretty cool. But but
I would say this: if Saudi Arabia got to the final, I am 1,000% rooting for them to win it,
regardless of who they're playing.
regardless of who they're playing. Because I really don't give a damn about the Gold Cup.
Fair, fair.
The roster we have in this thing, you could tell me that they went 3-0 in pool play. They won respectively against the 99th ranked team in the world, like the 72nd ranked team in the world, and the 67th ranked team in the world. And we didn't look all that impressive.
Mhm.
We don't have our best players. We don't have Captain America. And the way that the U.S. men's national team has been playing and the animosity in that clubhouse and all the crap that went on with the Reina kid and his parents and the coach after the last World Cup and them crying that their kid didn't play enough. It's all noise for me. So, as an American, do I want to say, yeah, I want them to win? Yeah. But at the same time, I would love to see a team that's not even in, I don't even want to say belong, that's not even in this confederation to win it and make such a mockery of it.
Oh
Because I
yeah.
think that would just be a legendary tale for
Hmm.
the ages.
And,
And I
and I mean,
and it would throw so much mud at Concacaf. Come on, it's great.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest here. Like I was talking about, no American really cares. No American that's not that big into soccer really cares about the Concacaf. But when you see that America wins it, it you feel some national pride. But to say if someone gets on X, gets on the ESPN app, is checking the Bleacher Brothers website and sees that Saudi Arabia beats the United States to win Concacaf, they're gonna be like, "What?" and read into it, and it's gonna be a huge story. Not here in North and South America, but nationwide. And I feel like it would just be, like you said, a really fun tale. You can look back on the summer of 25 and go, "Hey, do you remember Saudi Arabia won the North and South American Cup? That was pretty cool."
So we're up against it for time, but a couple of things. Do you have your own show here for Bleacher Brothers?
I do. It's a
All
NASCAR
right.
show. It's called
So
NASCAR
when is
Live.
that on?
It is on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock. So your time slot, but yesterday.
All right. And then I know you're going to be a senior at FAU. This is what you want to do for your life. So like for the FAU teams, do you travel with them? Because I actually was just in Bermuda and we were on an excursion, and this kid is running like all of the social media for Duke University as his job after
Hmm.
college. He went to West Virginia, and he's in a couple of weeks, he's going to Paris with the Duke women's basketball team to cover this tournament over there. to handle all the social media. Do you get to do any of that at FAU?
So I cover. So I'm. It's a third party company owned by Bleacher Brothers called the FA called the Owl's Nest, and I have not yet traveled to cover their teams. I'm not sure yet because I covered everything. It seemed like the only sport that I did not touch was men's basketball all last season. That was the only sport I covered. A football game, which, truth be told, looking back then I just wasn't really that comfortable with my skill set, because it was my first year actually doing that. But I do post on social media for the Owl's Nest. This season I should be traveling more. But like I mentioned last fall, I covered the men's and women's soccer teams, and that was my first gig. And to understand college soccer in the States was pretty dang fun because I never really thought of it being that big of a thing. But I mean, soccer overall, I would say correlates really well to college football environments, at least like the big, like Big Ten, your SEC schools, just those big rivalries. And I really think that's what made me fall in love with soccer in general.
So where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on X, and I'm going to have to be completely honest with you because I do not remember my X handle, which you think I would with how often I have to be on it. But you can find me on X at gbach2003. So the first initial of my name right here, right there, and then Bach, and then the year I was born, 2003. You can find me on YouTube as well. Go back if you're into motorsports, NASCAR. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but hey, I love it, and I try to make it enjoyable, entertaining for everyone. You can follow Bleacher Brothers as well. I'll be in Atlanta this weekend covering the NASCAR races there, so I'll be all over social media. So I just kind of have fun with what I'm doing.
All right, cool, man. Hey, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much.
We'll have you back. Garon, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
All right, everybody else, we'll see you next Thursday. Follow us on my Twitter handle, Kicking It Back with Matt. Same with Instagram. And we'll see you all later. Have a good night.